First 3 days when you bring home the puppy is going to be the toughest. Sometimes your puppy, when you leave it alone, will whine and stuff like that. You should be losing sleep, which I did. We took the puppy out 3 or 4 times last night. I have a dog that's, it's my dog now, you know. It's one of these dogs that got dumped on me. Her name's Tennessee. She has cancer, and so she has to go out all the time. So last night when I was taking Charlie out, I would take Tennessee out, and we're using a little bit of monkey see, monkey do. I'll take Charlie out with the older dogs too, so that Charlie can see the older dogs going to the bathroom outside. You can't teach a dog any of the commands by the dog watching another dog, but what you can do is sort of tell the dog, look, the other dogs go to the bathroom outside, this is what you're going to do. We'll also use other dogs to show Charlie to go up the steps. That can sometimes be helpful, but to teach any of the commands, that's not going to happen. Now, Remy was great. Remy slept with us right by Charlie, and you know, Charlie's doing great. There's some things that you need to expect, and one is that the puppy's probably going to whine if it's real young, and that's you know, it didn't whine because, you know, there's dogs all around here, and I was sleeping on the floor with the dog. Now, I want to talk about sleeping in the bed with the dog, because I don't think anybody should ever be doing that. However, with that said, if you want to have the puppy in your bed for 3 to 4 days, tops, 4 days is pushing it, you can do that so that when the puppy wakes up, you know that the puppy's up. You grab the puppy, you sleep in your clothes, and you run the puppy outside, and you start getting success. Now, for me, and I think that it's important for most dogs, that you start puppies, that you start sending the message that you need to go outside, go to the bathroom outside. So that's what we did. We slept on the floor. But if you want to do it in your bed, that's fine. But if you're going to have your dog in the bed for the rest of its life, or even for a long period of time, you're going to be telling that dog, you're going to be screwing up the status of the dog for sure. Your dog will end up being a mess. Those dogs end up being aggressive to other dogs on the street. They look at the owner as a possession. Don't do that. What I'm saying is, when you bring the puppy home, if it's real young like this one, Charlie's about 9 weeks, if you want to just do it for 3 days so that you can get in this rhythm and figure out when the dog needs to go to the bathroom and start sending the message to the dog, you need to go to the bathroom outside, do it. But don't overdo it. That's one of the big problems. See, Charlie and Remy. That's one of the big problems that people do, is they overdo. They think like, you know, using food. I use no food to train dogs, but what some people do, some trainers will tell you to do, is use food. And it wouldn't be a problem if you just used it in one session to get the dog moving in the correct direction, but that's not how it's used. People use food consistently throughout the lifetime of the dog to, you know, to mark positive behavior, but it ends up making you look like a resource for snacks. You're conditioning the dog to be excited with the food. And do you understand what I'm saying? That's not how it's done. So I'm saying it's the same thing. If you want to sleep with the dog for 3 or 4 days, getting your sea legs, getting this like psychic link with the dog, trying to figure out when it goes to the bathroom and making sure that it gets success outside, do it. But don't do it any more than 3-4 days. And if you're going to do it in your bed, you know, I suggest that you should probably just take it down to the ground, go down to the dog's level, make yourself a nice nest on the floor that you and the puppy can sleep on, but then stop doing that. Stop sleeping with the dog. That's not going to be helpful. We're doing this just to get this dog housebroken. My dog Tonka was housebroken at 13 weeks, meaning by the time that he was 13 weeks old, the dog had it in his head, or his functioning, in that he wanted to go to the bathroom outside. He did not want to go inside. We're going to crate train this puppy, and when I talk about this, you must understand that I'm a professional, so don't do it exactly how I do it. In other words, we're not going to use a puppy pen because I'm going to keep just taking the dog outside. If you're not a professional, right? So in other words, what I'm saying is I'm using a crate with this dog, but this dog is not in the crate for any longer than an hour or two at a time. Because if the dog starts going to the bathroom in the crate, you screw up that whole crate training process. So you might want to use a puppy pen, and then the dog could go to the bathroom over here in the puppy pen and then get away from it. So you're not screwing up that whole instinct of not, don't go to the bathroom in your den, dog. You see what I'm saying? So if it's in a small crate and it starts going to the bathroom and gets used to being around its feces and its pee, you screwed it up. But I'm being paid to do this. This isn't my dog. This is a client. So, but I would do it the same if it was my dog too. I'd probably just lose sleep, take the dog out constantly. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you're not going to do this and you're going to have a young dog like this, you don't want to put it in the crate at night because it might go to the bathroom in the crate. You might opt for a big pen so that if it had to go to the bathroom, it could get away from it. Now, Charlie's on a raw diet now, and Charlie took to raw diet like a duck takes to water. And you might see when you start giving your dog raw diet that they might not know what it is. And Charlie did a little bit of that when I fed him last night, but this morning he was wolfing it down. Now, if you want to get your dog housebroken, you're going to want to use raw diet. It's going to be easier on the dog. It's less taxing on your dog's system. There isn't as much fiber in it. Look for, well, there can be a lot of fiber in some of these prepared raw diets. I use Abity because it has a low fiber profile. It has no vegetables in it. Your dog doesn't need vegetables. You understand this? It shouldn't be eating carrots. It shouldn't be eating tomatoes. It shouldn't be, tomatoes are fruit, but do you understand? They don't eat that. They don't eat that. It has fibrous plant material in it, but it doesn't have potatoes and carrots. Dogs don't eat that. So I use Abity raw to feed the dog. And it makes it easier. And another thing, when I'm feeding Abity raw, I could be smashing chicken and making a raw diet myself, but I have another dog here that I'm working with. I have Miko here, who I took out last night with the puppy to, monkey see, monkey do, because she's going to the bathroom outside. So I got a lot on my plate, so it's easier for me to use Abity, which is very similar to how I would make a raw diet for the puppy. So the advantage is one, if you give your dog dry dog food, they have to hydrate it when it's inside. And then even if you take the dry dog food and you hydrate it yourself, they're getting too much water. So this way the dog doesn't feel real thirsty. Do you understand? If you give the dog dry dog food, okay, and the dog consumes it, then they drink a lot of water because that's going to suck water out of them. They have to hydrate the water inside, then it expands and pushes out of the puppy real quick. So that's no good. Use a raw diet, and if you're in the United States, you can find Abity, or maybe you can, this is a Canadian dog, maybe if you're in Canada, you could have Abity shipped to you. You'd have to call them, they're, I think, out of Poughkeepsie, New York. But you want to use the lowest fiber profile of a raw diet that you can have. You have the option of making your own raw diet. You can get a grinder and grind your chicken, your beef, but you want to keep that fiber profile down. It says it right on Abity's bag, no vegetables. This is a carnivore. This notion that your dog is not an obligated carnivore, it's fucked up. It's fucked up. The whole Pet Food Association came out with a statement. They've stated this many times. Your dog needs 0 carbs. Remember that. 0. That means it's a carnivore. The only reason why they say it's not an obligated carnivore is so that they can get away with putting filler in it. You don't want a pet food with a lot of filler. All right? So Charlie's doing awesome. We've had a lot of success with Charlie. When Charlie came home, we were working Charlie, and doing here. And we're working on here. We'll have a video out on this later. Just know that if you're going to do this, you're going to take this approach that I take with sleeping with the dog on your floor, okay? Know that you shouldn't do this, have your dog sleeping with you. This is only for a 3 or 4 day period, and that's it. In the past, I've put a bell on the, Remy. In the past, I've put a bell on the dog's neck so that I hear the dog if it's moving around at night. You could do that, but I'm like I'm so keyed into the dog, the puppy, that if the puppy moves at night and gets up, I have all my clothes on, I grab the puppy, and I take the dog outside. And remember, if you think the dog's going to go to the bathroom, if you pick the dog up, usually they're not going to go. That'll, get them to hold it. If the dog, it's been longer than usual and you think that the dog needs to go to the bathroom, you might have to run the dog outside. But I have the leash on the dog. I'm fully dressed. This is the same thing I was wearing last night for a reason. I have my shoes. They're ready to go. I have my socks on. You want to build on success, and that's with all of the commands and everything. You got to build on success. You can't build on negativity with housebreaking. If you catch your young puppy, this is a 9-week-old puppy, going to the bathroom in the house, whatever you do, do not rub the dog's nose into it. That will just confuse the dog. Don't ever do that. Don't ever smack the dog. It's a puppy. It had to go to the bathroom. Do you understand? Just clean it up and start getting more success outside. Now remember, a puppy this young does not have all its shots. So you're not going to take it to the park. You're just going to take it right outside the door, and that's it. If you have a backyard where, like, we're going upstate, it'll make it a lot easier and everything. That's fine. If you don't have a lot of your friends' dogs coming over there, it's going to be fine. It'll be safe. But don't take the dog to any dog runs, parks, anything like that. If anybody has been looking at puppies, don't let them come over and pet the dog because they could have viruses. They could have parvovirus on them, and your puppy could get it. Try to think if there's anything else about this housebreaking thing. Other than, really, you need to build on success with everything with your dog. It's important. You can't build on negativity. And with puppies, like a puppy this young, there shouldn't be any negativity. There shouldn't. You don't bring in any negativity until about 4 months, and then you can sort of change your demeanor, No! And the dog at that point could have a leash correction. So, if there's something, I'm sure I'm going to do more videos on this housebreaking because he's only 9 weeks old. I'll probably interject something else in upcoming videos. But all this is key. Use a raw diet and build on success by getting the dog outside as much as possible. When the dog goes to the bathroom, good boy, good girl, throw a party. Make sure that the dog knows that the dog is doing what you want. Okay? Build on success. Keep saying this to yourself over and over again. I'm going to build on success. Keep it positive. I'm not telling you that when your dog is at a certain age, you can't start, teaching the dog no. You should. You need to teach the dog no. 4 million dogs are dying every year because of improper training, no training. You understand what I'm saying? You have to train the dog properly. You have to build on success. And purely positive training is not purely positive for the dog. But when they're this young, you keep it real positive. But with that said, do not ever take one of these puppy kindergarten classes where you're giving the dog a bunch of food. There's no reason to train your puppy or any age dog using food. They like you telling them that they're doing a good job. That's it. You don't need to use food training any age dog. It's not necessary. Now look at Charlie. Watch Charlie. By the way, look at Charlie. Who's Charlie look like? You know who I think he looks like? He looks like a couple different people. One, Eddie Munster, right? He also looks like he could be in the Insane Clown Posse. Look at him. Or, this is who I really think he looks like. Ace Frehley, you know? Or whoever it is that's in Kiss that has the diamond-shaped, you know, makeup. Look at him. He's in the Kiss Army. Charlie is going to be a gun dog, okay? So, I was planning on going to my house, but we're going to stay down in Brooklyn for a reason, is because Charlie is doing great with the trains coming in. He's totally ignoring them. I want Charlie to be around loud sounds. And so we're going to stay down here for a day, maybe two, I don't know. And make sure that Charlie just gets totally habituated to loud sounds. You do not want a gun-shy dog. I'll do more on this subject later. But as soon as I'm hand-feeding Charlie for the next 3 or 4 days, as soon as he stops eating from my hand, we'll start also conditioning him to loud sounds by taking a hammer and a cast iron pan, and while he's eating, we'll be smacking that cast iron pan. When we get up to my house, I'll start using a .22 starter pistol while he's eating. We are not classically conditioning the dog. That is not what we're doing. We're just habituating the dog to loud sounds. By the time this dog goes home, we'll be able to fire a shotgun off. There will be no problems. Don't get a hunting dog and think that, you know, you don't have to do anything. Do you understand? Remember Mila? Mila was gun shy. I had to do extra steps to get Mila not gun shy because she'd never been around loud sounds. By the time she showed up here, she was about 5 or 6 months old. So this is a 9-week-old puppy. The chances of this dog being gun shy, 0. There will be no gun shyness from Charlie from the Kiss Army. Look at this. It's crazy. He does. I got to find out which one of the musicians uses this makeup, but it's exactly like that. He does. He looks like he's in Kiss. Charlie. Charlie in a box. I'm Charlie.